Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Haters thought we weren't going to be back for Season 2, but here we are. The Detroit Dipplins have made their return. I am your host, TJ. I'm going over an overview of my team, my schedule, my matchups, just some explanations, everything like that. In case any of you weren't here before, which I don't blame you because I privated all the videos just because I'm not proud of the content. Not in a bad way at all, just I could definitely do better with it, and I'm going to try to this year. But basically, I'm in a draft league of 12 people. We play generally SPL rules, or like professional rules. I started off really hot. I was, well, not hot, but I was really close in a lot of my games. I had a fun team. I was using fun nicknames, everything like that. I started out 1 and 2 in the videos that I made, and I lost bad in one of them, really close in the other. And at a certain point, I just decided that I needed to lock in, and so I stopped doing the videos, and I kept losing, and I finished 2 and 6. Yeah, I finished 2 and 6, either second or third worst in the league. And so it obviously wasn't the videos that were the problem, but I just didn't bring them back because I had missed them, and it was just throwing me off my game. But now, I've got a better microphone. Maybe you can tell I got better headphones. Willing to commit more time to better content. I've learned how to draft better. I've learned how to play better. I've made friends in the league. I've improved so much, I think, and I hope that my content can reflect that this season rather. Now, before I jump scare you on the next slide, the biggest draw of why you should watch the Dipplin Draft League Season 2, Megas are back. Each team was allowed to draft 1 Mega that obviously can't terrestrialize. Games are played in National Dex format with National Dex move sets. Points were adjusted accordingly. And moves like Hidden Power and Pursuit are banned, but many other moves that Mons don't get in Gen 9 but do in National Dex are completely allowed. There's also some major unbans like Speed Boost Blaziken, just to compete with the power level of the Megas. Each team ended up with a Mega. No one skipped out on it. So let's get into my team and the idea behind it, because last year, there was no idea behind it. I'm going to keep saying last year, it's last season. But now, welcome to my size spam team, captained by Mega Alakazam. So this is my team layout. Mega Alakazam, King Gambit, Corviknight, Hisuian, Samurott, Indeedee, female specifically, Toedscruel, Ceruledge, Vaporeon, Darkspun, Staraptor, Dusclops, and Hisuian, Sliggoo. I'm going to go more into these, but last time I was really committed to just raw offense, because that's how I would play it. I didn't know any better. I had my Slowking as a pivot, so surely that was good enough, but no. I decided I was going to go with bulky, just tanky offense, because I learned how to chip, I learned how to set up for end games. I just have improved a lot. Guess I'll keep gassing myself up like that, but I think the selection of King Gambit and Corviknight really show these kind of play styles. And then, of course, to directly contradict myself, I pick Alakazam, one of the fastest, strongest, frailest Mons, but I knew I wanted to go with a little psychic terrain thing, and so Mega Alakazam is really, really, really powerful in that. So, speaking of, let's talk about it. Mega Alakazam was available in the first round for 19 points at the 6th overall pick. He's going to be my team captain. If he doesn't come every week, then I'm selling, honestly, so get used to him. He's great for just raw psychic power, including expanding force with the psychic terrain, which, as you can see, is present. He's got some great moves in National Dex like Teleport, which isn't really that good with the negative priority and the low bulk, but it is a switch move if I know he's switching. It's got Energy Ball to clean up some unexpected people, Focus Blast if I'm willing to get crazy. It's got some fun moves too. It's got some trademark National Dex moves that are gone, like something that raises its defense by 2, like guard split, in case I'm crazy and see some Eviolite Pokemon. I'm a little cautious of running that, but I also understand that at a certain point you have to risk it to win. And so this is a spoiler for an eventual slide, but I'm going to be playing an Eviolite user first week, and I think guard split could be really good to make this like a bulky Alakazam versus a frail Bisharp. And I mean, Alakazam is just a combined wall breaker, sweeper. Could be a setup mon with Nasty Plot if I get it in a really favorable position. I'm just a little afraid I'm going to have to run Focus Blast on it, which just sucks. I hate that move. But maybe I'll just meditate or something. I'll get in a mindset where all my moves just hit. I think the biggest flaw with Alakazam is it's kind of predictable. It really only has like 5 offensive types that it can do and 1 setup move. So I'm going to have to get unpredictable to beat the best of the best with him. Next round was Kingambit for 15 points. One of the best closers, probably the best closer, because I wouldn't call him a sweeper, but just like coming in on a threatening mon, just pressing a random Kowtow Cleave, punishing Defogs, punishing Intimidate. Like, he is so good for chipping and ending games, which I now know how to do, and I really think that other than my own psychic terrain getting in the way, just kind of like shredding stuff with spikes, which you can see my team has a good amount of, plus wall breaking and finishing threats like fighting types with Alakazam, opens up Kingambit. So I think there will be a lot of weeks that Kingambit is the star, and I'm building the roster of the week around how do I get everything low enough HP and the threats gone so that Kingambit can finish things off with maybe Supreme Overlord or Defiant or whatever. Speaking of Defiant, we got our Defogger, Corviknight. Ground immunity, obviously, great typing. Massive bulk, great pivot, which is just huge. Really good resist to psychic types, so that obviously I have a lot of psychic resist here. I just do not want my own psychic terrain to be turned against me, and I don't think it will. I don't know who it would be against. But Corviknight with just a Roost U-turn for momentum Defog, in case I'm not bringing my own spikes and I'm really worried about hazards, which I don't know how much I would be unless it's a Stealth Rocks and I need Ceruledge or Staraptor. Those are the only Rocks weak mons on my team, and a lot of my mons resist it. And of course there's always Boots, so Defog is probably not going to be the most common move, because I think a lot of times my hazards will be more effective than my opponents on me. Because, in case you didn't know, here's a little thing. The Megas are required to hold the Mega Stone. However, at no point do they have to Mega. So, I can hold normal Alakazam with Magic Guard, aka immune to hazards, which I was just talking about, until I find a mon that I really want to trace with, or that I need the power boost to kill. So that's kind of a nice little thing, where Alakazam benefits when a lot of others are going to want to Mega Evolve right away. Speaking of spikes, got Hisuian Samurott, one of the premier setters of them with Ceaseless Edge boosted by Sharpness. Another dark type. I almost wish it was just normal Samurott's typing, because having just a pure water would actually be better, because I don't need the type overlap with Kingambit. But I already type overlapped with Corviknight, so what do I know? It can be really bulky if I Assault Vest it. It can be a real slow flip turner, which is so nice, because I'm just going to need that, because that's the easiest way to get Mega Zam in. is you just slow flip turn on something, especially something that can take a hit, like a Vaporeon or a Hisuian Samurai. So I think, and just the water type strong offense is also really good for me because I don't have a lot for fire other than that. You'll see some sets. We'll see some Scarf, some Choice Band, maybe some Specs if I'm getting crazy with it, but probably not. Yeah, it gets everything I need it to. It's a good knocker. It has good matchups into a lot of Megas, actually, which is really nice. And yeah, the spikes are just going to be unparalleled help on my team. Speaking of unparalleled help, my Terra Captain Indeedee. So, Indeedee is classic. You got Baton Pass for switching out slowly, just like flip turning. You got, well, let me talk about this. The Psychic Terrain, which enables everything. It basically completely enables Mega Alakazam because I can't die to like a Mega Scissor Bullet Punch, a Sucker Punch from something that's super effective. Mega Alakazam is frail enough where it would die to a lot of priority moves. A lot of strong priority moves like an Extreme Speed or something like that would really hurt it in Psychic Terrain. So I think there's a lot to be said, or without Psychic Terrain rather, there's a lot to be said with how important it is. And I do wish I would have maybe got a second one that benefits from Psychic Terrain because it's kind of just Indeedee and Alakazam. But there's weeks where Indeedee could be baby Alakazam. Just a little Choice Scarf Indeedee, Terra Fire with Expanding Force and Terra Blast, and it just wall breaks everything. I chose Fairy for better Dazzling Gleams as well as a good defensive matchup. Chose Fire for a good defensive matchup as well as the Fire Terra Blast, which is something I'll need because I don't have basically anything else to hit steals except for some stuff that I'll get to later. Indeedee's gonna come a lot of the time because the easiest way to deal with Alakazam is priority, and so if you can't do that, you're suffering. Toadscruel fills an interesting niche on my team. He's a spinner, which is just, oh, it's huge. It's so comforting to have a spinner because Defog could really screw me sometimes. And Toadscruel, not only can he set spikes and do little spore action and stuff like that, but with Terra Water, he can survive a ton of hits because he's actually really bulky. And Terra Poison is great because that's my number one way to absorb toxic spikes. Because I don't necessarily want to have to run boots on Toadscruel, but I can't have him poisoned coming in. So it's like, it's a tough situation, but Terra Poison really helps deal with it if I can get him in a situation where early game versus a toxic spiker, I have him in and he's running spikes, and I throw out some spikes, and then I flip into Corviknight, or I turn into, I switch into Corviknight or something like that, and then eventually I come back in on the toxic spikes, and it's like they're never there. There can be some really good utility from Toadscruel. I think he'll come more often than not. Ceruledge, kind of a luxury pick. It's really good spin blocker, but it is one that needs boots for Stealth Rock, and it's weak to Knockoff, which is just a bad combination. However, Knockoff could give it weak armor if I play it right, which turns it into a monster. I've always been a fan of, well, I guess Knockoff neglects this, but I was going to say Choice Band, where if you can switch it in on, say, a U-turn with weak armor, and it's like max speed, its weak armor Choice Band Bitterblade will kill anything. There's not much Flash Fire going around other than Heatran, because I also took Darkspawn, so I don't have to worry about it. Its biggest role is probably as a spin blocker, and on the weeks that hazards are required with Hisuian Samurai, Ceruledge will probably have to come along too. Vaporeon is, sorry about that pronunciation, it was cursed. Vaporeon is an excellent pickup for me because I needed the water absorb, I needed bulk, and I needed another flip turner that isn't flip turning as a last resort. Vaporeon Wish flipping into Mega Alakazam is just, I mean, it cannot go understated how huge that can be. And so just some like Scald stuff into physical threats versus Alakazam, because Alakazam has a pretty good special defense stat. It's not a glass object versus special attacks. It is versus physical attacks, but that's about it. But Vaporeon comes in on physical attacker and it scalds it while Wish protecting itself, and it flips, and then you've got Scald, Flip Turn, Wish, Protect. You're healing up everything from Kingambit to Corviknight to Hisuian Sliggoo while tanking everything. Just a massive role on my team for 10 points. Darkspun for 4 is a really good steal, I think. It's another fire immunity, and I feel like it's a better Flash Fire user than Ceruledge because it's not a fire type in itself. And so Darkspun coming in, well, it's not a Flash Fire, it's actually Well-Baked Body, which is even better now that I think about it. Because I'm going to be running a lot of Body Press stuff. I'm pretty sure it gets Roar or something like that. I don't remember. But there's just some strong sets you can run with Darkspun, and it is a surprising offensive Mon as well as a surprising tank. And the fire immunity will be so good versus Kingambit and Corviknight. Staraptor is just a raw power. I'm not sure how much it'll come. I think it'll really depend on matchup, because I'm a big fan of Scarf or Choice Band with just Brave Bird, Double Edge, Close Combat, U-Turn. Obviously it has plenty of other sets and has more versatility than that, but I don't know what kind of versatility it would have over Corviknight or Ceruledge when I'm using it in any way other than what I just described. I don't think he's drop or trade fodder, but if he's not on the roster by the end of the season, don't be super surprised. I'm not looking to trade him, and he has a good matchup into a lot of guys. And so, he'll find a home. Dusclops is an interesting Mon, because you look at him for 2, he's not fully evolved, and you're like, okay, and it's a little joke. Just he's got 4 points left, he's just spending to spend. I personally don't think so with him. I think Dusclops being able to Will-Wisp and Nightshade and just spam leftovers and protect and stuff like that, or potentially, I'll talk about another strat in a second, but just being a tank and being able to switch in to something Mega Alakazam is weak to, or maybe like a U-turn or something like that, and instead of Mega Alakazam taking 90, you can get Dusclops taking like 15. And it's just a really helpful Mon to me, and pain splitting things too. I think Dusclops is a sneaky, excellent Mon on my team. It's also Spin Blocker, which could put Ceruledge out of business if I'm going Dusclops and Darkspun. That is better than Ceruledge, unless I want the offense. But I think Dusclops is a great Mon on my team. I think it really is. Then Hisuian Sliggoo, what I was talking about earlier, where it's kind of like, he just picked a 2-point Mon. Yeah, I did. I really wanted the 12th Mon, just for flexibility, because I kind of imagined that there could be 1 week where Sliggoo comes in and is a better switch-in for things than Dusclops is. Doesn't get body press, which is so depressing. That's like kills it, but I still took it. It's got a lot going for it. It's got Sap Sipper, which is actually a really good one. I think that is probably the number 1 reason I took it. Just having the grass type immunity when I'm overall weak to it. Well, I have a lot of resists, but kind of. But it's important for me to be able to have that grass switching, or at least the threat of it, so that they can't just spam it. And also, I think maybe there could be some people who don't think of Hisuian Sliggoo as a Sap Sipper guy. Overall, I think Zam, Gambit, Corviknight, Samurott, Indeedee, Vaporeon is probably the normal 6 core, just because everyone else kind of has their role taken. I could see one of them being dropped for Toedscruel, and there could be some weeks where Corviknight or Indeedee female even is dropped for Dusclops or even Staraptor. We'll figure it out as we go. Obviously, I'm not going to worry too much about it yet. But I've got a lot of core, I've got a really strong flexibility, and I think I have identity as a bulky, psychic team built around my Mega, which is a good way to deal with it when you're building in a Megas format. So, on to the schedule. This is my schedule. We got the Tokyo Tyrannotars, Crimson Ironworks, Marble Falls Miniers, Kanto Rockets, formerly known as the Portland Polytoads, Angry Apoms, Grand Rapids Basque Legions, Detroit Luxray, Battle of Detroit, and the Montana Meganium. Tokyo Tyranitar is Commissioner of the League, a good friend. Playing him week 1. He's got a great team. He was the runner-up overall last year. He came in 2nd place in the league. Lost in the championship game. Great player. His team is better this year than it was last year. His Mega is Mega Garchomp. His other notable Pokemon I can think of are Iron Valiant, Golden Go, and Iron Moth. Overall, he is a offensive team built around saving his sweepers. He doesn't have the most support of anyone, but he's got a really strong team. I think I overall have a neutral matchup with him. Crimson Ironworks was a playoff team, I think. Actually, that might not be true. I don't... No, he was. Yeah, Crimson Ironworks was a playoff team last year. There were 7 playoff teams, so while there were more playoff teams than not, it wasn't easy to get into the playoffs. There were a couple good teams that got left out. His Mega is Mega Mawile. He's a hyper offense team. I don't remember a lot else about it right now, but I think I actually have a good matchup into him, especially with his Megas. Once I take care of Mega Mawile, I remember thinking to myself, looking at his team, I'm not worried about that. He's a great player, so I'm worried about it, but I'm not worried about his team comp. Marble Falls Miniers, one of the nicest guys in the league. He was also a playoff team. He was the 2nd overall seed, and I'm pretty sure he won his first playoff game, made it to the 2nd round, lost to the eventual champion, Lucas, who was undefeated with the Sinistar Spectres. Miniors, his Mega is Mega Diancie, but his main Pokemon is Annihilape. Can't remember a lot off his team also, but I remember that it is astoundingly built around Annihilape, and I don't necessarily mean like amazingly, I mean like it's incredible how obvious it is that it's built around Annihilape. Hazards and Magic Bounce with Diancie is going to be tough, but a little Chople Berry or something, or just a fast King Gambit, it's dead. So I don't have to worry about his Mega, but then it comes right back in and it just soaks it up with Annihilape. But obviously there's a big flaw in that, and it's that Annihilape is really weak to Psychic, which is my whole team's thing. Week 4, Kanto Rockets, my mock partner, one of my absolute best friends in the league, the GOAT even. He's a really good player with a really, really strong rain team, a frustratingly strong rain team with things like Archaludon, Barraskewda, Pelipper to set it. Beartick is a threat. He's got webs with whatever that mon is called, Vikavolt. And it's all captained by his Mega Swampert, which, as you know, is a Swift Swimmer water type that is just incredibly juiced. A lot of people in the league have been talking about he might be the favorite overall to win, because not only is his team probably the best, it's definitely the most well constructed, but he's also one of the best players in the league. He lost, not super unluckily, but he had some things not go his way that easily could have put him in the championship. He lost to the Tyrannitars, who were in the championship, so they were in the second round after he won his first round. Actually, no, it's the other way around. He lost in the first round, but it was to the Tyrannitars, who obviously went on to win the next one and go and then lose in this championship. But that's a scary one, because not only is he good with that, he's my typical mock partner, so my mocking is going to be very different that week. Okay, past mid-season, we got Alex and Angry Apoms. Just a phenomenal guy. Look up Vacanine TCG, give him a sub on YouTube. He makes interesting ass TCG videos, and he also was making videos of the league when it was going on. Just a super nice guy. He's the guy that I go to mock when I'm playing the Rockets or something like that. And then counteracting the Rockets, he's a Sun team. He's a strong Sun team led by Mega Charizard Y. He's got Raging Bolt, I think, on his team. No, he doesn't. He has Venusaur and Great Tusk are his big guys. He's a little... I like his team a lot, but I think my biggest flaw with it is that it's really predictable. You're not looking at his guys and going like, oh, what are they going to run? Because it's obviously all have a role, and it's a great role, but it's defined. If I can just deal with the pure power of weather, he doesn't have almost anything to stop Mega Alakazam from just going dumb in Terrain Extender Psychic Terrain that week. That could literally be a thing where it's like, I lead in DD, Terrain Extender, Baton Pass into Alakazam, or I slow Baton Pass into Alakazam, and just win. Week 6, Grand Rapids Basque Legions. He had a tough season last one, but he's got one of the absolute best teams this year. He took his Mega really late, but he got Mega Metacham, who is just a massive mon. It's neutral against Psychic, but it can use my Psychic Terrain against me, especially to beat things like Corviknight, Hisuian Samurott, King Gambit, obviously. So, but the rest of his team is really good, but it's kind of weak to me, and it is like, I remember Dragapult specifically is the one mon that I remember is his first round pick. He's got some good little guys though, but that's another week where the Size Spam has a really good matchup into him, and because of the nature of his team, it might actually be more of an Indeedee Specs or Scarf week where it sets its own, and Zam is just kind of there. But that'll be a fun one. Then the Battle of Detroit with Justin and the Detroit Luxray. I don't even remember what his Mega is, I'm not gonna lie. He has a really good team comp. I just can't remember it right now, sadly. Yeah, I can't remember it. I'm not really able to give great commentary on Detroit Luxray, except I remember thinking how good his draft is, and that I know he's a great player. He was in the playoffs. I think he lost in the second round. Yeah, sorry, I don't have much to say about him. And then the Meganium the Mega Scizor team. Gonna be a tough one. That's the week that we're talking Fire and DD. Like, I'm not saying I picked Fire on Indeedee as the Terra type for this matchup, but if I had to list only 3 reasons why, it's definitely one of them. He's built well around it, I think, but the team itself is not that threatening. It really supports that Mega Scizor, so if I can just get it dead, he doesn't have almost anything against me. Overall, I play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of my 8 teams were playoff teams. I dodged the undefeated champion, Sinister Spectres, and I also dodged the new coach to our league who drafted a really good team, so it makes me think he might be a dominant force. So I'm glad to dodge him. I don't think there's a game on this that is easy or hard. Well, there's a hard game, and it's the Rockets, but that's hard for everyone. But I think the only thing holding me back this season would be myself. So if I can just play it right and not be dumb, I can make a real push. And that's why my goal is playoffs. I'd love to win the whole thing, but obviously it might be kind of a pipe dream. So, just a closing word, I'm really excited about the season. We're already in week 1 as I record, edit, and publish this video. I'm playing the Tyrannotars week 1, as you just saw. I'm really excited to get into it. I'm committing to quality and quantity for my videos, and I just really appreciate you guys for watching this one and sticking around. I hope it's been interesting. I hope to get some freaking wins for y'all because I'm playing for the fans this season. Let's go Dipplins. Thank you for watching.